Hi, welcome. I'm Imogen. This is my channel. Welcome to my channel. Two-thirds Lotus. Hi Nikki. Hi Rick Lisi. Good evening, lovely human. Good evening, lovely human as well. It's almost 5 a.m. I should really go to bed, but I kind of want to be irresponsible. The fact that I'm still up is already that, I guess. Yeah, it seems like it probably is. I'd imagine it's 5 a.m. in the sense that you didn't just wake up and you've been awake uh, for all that time, which, I wouldn't, I'm not exactly one to to encourage such behavior, but at least you're spending this 5 a.m. time on my stream, so I'll take that, right? Bless me, thank you. Um, yeah, hello, welcome. We are, we are collaging today. Best time to best time to spend a 5 a.m. stream is on poetry. Yeah, I think so. Um, and it is collage poetry. We'll be creating some original art, which is always good. I want to get out the one from last stream to show that when I switch to the camera. But yeah, gonna be gluing words and pictures together, and hopefully it'll look good. I think it will. It looked good last time. I tend to be decent at collage. I'm still getting back into the rhythm of all of that, the cutting, the gluing, the etc. But I'm very excited because I like these Thursday evening streams. They're very chill. At least the last one was, and it was just a lot of fun to sit and do art and kind of have, you know, the company of chat. I really enjoy that. So yeah, and last time, I mean, Nikki, you were here. We made this, which I guess is called Satisfaction is Guaranteed. Uh, and this one was an immense amount of fun to do. And since last time, I have found my old little bowl of scraps of words that I've picked out before that I enjoy. So there's lots of interesting, fun words in here as places to start poetically. And then I also have the bag of various images, photos, that kind of shebang to use if I'm like looking for inspiration. So something we might do is just start with, some of the words I've already picked out as inspiring to me, or we could just like start flipping through magazines and cutting things up, looking for inspiration. But I think I want to like start here and see what I have. I have lots of like really good, little phrases here, connected through time and space, very poetic. The real world happens off the page. When it rains, it pours, right? So many of these are just like great beginnings or great lines within poems. The sun was rising, right? So we'll find one or two of these maybe to be the core of this poem, and then work through, maybe look through words that fit that vibe. That might be where we start, and then eventually come to some idea of what we want to say, and then grab some pictures. Because last time, right, I started by looking through, found some pictures that I thought might work, and then sort of switched to words. So perhaps this time it can go in the other order. I don't know if that's what I did last time. I don't actually remember. But yeah, if any of these stick out to, that one's a picture, to anyone as just like something that seems fun to use in a poem, I'm definitely open to that. I really like libations. It's a great word. Calls back to ancient Greek and Greek poetry and Greek religion. I think it has a good place in poetry for sure. This is a scrap of paper with no words on it. I'm gonna get rid of that. But yeah, I don't know where to start. A library of priceless information. That one's cool. I don't know what else I have. Just pulling things out. Where are you? And I'm so sorry I cannot dream. I cannot sleep tonight. I feel like based on the way you write that, it's got to be like lyrics or something. But I have no clue what you're referencing because I lack, uh, culture or whatever. So, where are you? And I'm so sorry I cannot dream. I cannot sleep tonight. Yeah, I have no idea what's that referencing. But welcome, Callie. If any of these words on the screen stick out to you as things that might be a good title for a poem or oh, that's Rocket Man. I feel like it's bad that I don't know that one. Or that I didn't recognize that, right? Yeah, but if anyone fucks with any of these words, these are all options as titles or parts of poems that we can use to start to put things together. Not sure. Slipping on my heels out here at home. Slipping. No idea. Sorry, I'm sleepy. Slipping, sleepy, slippy. Fair enough. This this is one of my like all-time generational collage polls. This phrase, is your hair a stepchild to your face? That just I don't know how that one would ever fit into a poem, but I really love it. It's some like ad from like the 40s or something from forgot which magazine. One of like the home magazines that they had. They just had ads for all sorts of things. I like the real world happens off the page. I think that's fun, right? It's sort of a self-referential kind of ironic thing. I mean, Promised Lands is always like a thematic thing that I enjoy. Oh, wait, okay. I'm thinking it's Blink 182, not Elton John. Like, I feel like I kind of know Blink 182, but I guess I just didn't recognize it. These two kind of go great together, right? Promised Lands, let's put it off for one more day. Something to do with death, something to do with heaven. These are the kind of things I like to write about generally. So I think that's maybe the sort of word vibe that I'm going for. This one's interesting. Have I done enough for all? These are all very like cosmic, very big, very religious-y kind of feeling words, and maybe that's what I want to go for today. Take off some of these ones. I think he's trolling. That's not Rocket Man. Okay. That makes sense. Libations could work. That's like a drink that one takes in worship of a god or something. Kind of works with these words. That's a good start. It's a good start. Some kind of temporal, future, oriented. Here's this one. Live the good life. Hella philosophical. When it rains, it pours goes well with libations. It does. Yeah. Life and limb in pursuit. That's kind of interesting. Cool. Well, it is like that's like the mood board, I guess. Um, uh, we'll go with that, and then I think from here Like, just based on this general vibe, none of these necessarily have to make it into the final poem that we construct. But I think that's a good enough idea of like where my head's at to start figuring out what I want to do. Uh, I find that can be really useful just in art in general, right? Rather than just jumping right into creation or making choices, like picking out words, feelings, uh, uh, that kind of reflect what's on one's mind, right? Understanding one's own headspace, what seems to be inspiring, and then making art from there can be a good process. So I'm gonna grab a magazine or a book to start cutting up, probably. Maybe lots of magazines. What is this? How about Arizona Highways from 1964? This has a great vibe to it. This cover is just like grainy enough that it feels oldish. I don't know how this is going to interact with all this promised land God stuff, but maybe we end up with a Western sort of vibe. Yeah. So as with the collage things, if things stick out, if things feel inspiring to people, just say like, yo, stop, cut that one out, look at that word, look at that picture, and they will go into the pool of possible things to turn into this poem visually and word wise. I love these Hoover Dam these generators. I've been here in the Hoover Dam. It's very close to where I live, and this idea, I don't know, technology, promised land, pursuit, and then some of this like water stuff could maybe work with that. I thought libations were for Greek gods. Yeah, they are. I fancy myself an Apollo. I'm more of a Dionysus. I wonder what Greek god I most maybe relate to personally. I don't think Apollo, right? He has this like ideality about him. He has this sort of sense of perfection. Dionysus is a bit too, you know, Dionysus for me, I guess. I'm not that much of a reveler, just as a person. Oh, this is fun. These are all places near Vegas. Willow Beach. I have a friend who camped there the other day. Not the other day, recently. What Greek god would I be? What are the other Greek gods, guys? Maybe, does it have to be a god? I think we're talking about gods. We're not talking about, like, characters in general. Can y'all, like, put some Greek gods in chat? Dionysus is also the god of theater. Oh, well, that's cool. I think I'm not much of a theatrical individual. Sometimes these are like really pretty pictures. I love the desert. I'm glad I live in the desert. What, there's like, there's like a forge kind of god. Hephaestus, is he the god? Prometheus took fire from him, right? Oh yeah, and Prometheus was a titan. I think that's how that works. I don't think I'm a Hephaestus though. I'm not that much creation. And there's Zeus, right? There's Hera. There's Aphrodite, right? She's beauty. Hera is, what's Hera's deal? I don't know who I know that she's Zeus's wife. I don't think I'm an Aphrodite. Athena, she's like strategy and war. Oh, and she's like that statue um, winged victory that has its like head. I wrote a poem about that statue once. Uh, Athena. She's on a mission. She's flying. Hermes, right? He's the messenger. I could see myself being something of a Hermes, something hermetic, perhaps. Although that's a very different connotation when you say it like that. This is just all Lake Mead. I don't know if I want this collage to have any more Lake Mead than the little Hoover Dam picture. Demeter, is that like the harvest and the whatever agriculture? Not my vibe. Not my vibe for sure. My gosh, it's pictures of home. Like I've been here because I live here. Jeez. I think I could see myself as a Hermes, as a messenger. That seems very possible. I don't know if y'all would agree with that. I'm not. Are these poems? Look, guys, there's poems in this magazine. They have here's Desert Country by Betty Isler. This is a no-nonsense land. No compromise, no half values, no shadings. Mountains here do not emerge from gentle slopes and gratings, but sharply arise, stark and granite, from flat sand. Here are uncluttered skies, strong wind and hard sun, plainness or aching beauty, the whole element or none, and loved by the desert wise. I guess I'm desert wise if I love this place. Pretty uninspiring magazine overall. Really cool back cover. High key. We're like, that's just very like summer, swimming out on the lake. That could be a cool background. Because it's beautiful. I love a good back cover, and that makes like a good size for the piece, if that were to be the background. So I'll get out my poetic cutting tool and carefully perform magazine surgery here. Ba-bam. I don't think I got it perfectly straight, but that's okay. You're probably one of the 3 hags, Nikki. I don't know if that's a sort of insinuating some sort of self-deprecation, or if the hags are like actually super cool in their vibe. But I don't know much about them. I know of like hag covens, and they come in 3s in like D&D, and that a sea hag has, I think, 32 hit points and is the sea hag would be challenge rating 1, can like change shape. That's about what I know about hags. Night hags have some like spell casting, but that's all D&D. And of course all of that, you know, takes heavily from folklores and traditions, but probably not the best, most accurate knowledge. I sort of like the idea of using a road map in this collage. I just dropped something. I think I can pretty much use anything. So if anyone has a location you want me to use a road map from, because I like this, like, you know, we have this like promised land, going places, pursuit kind of vibe, this motion going on, and I have all these maps. So if anyone has a state you want me to take maps from, can definitely, like here, we could just throw the whole map of Connecticut on this collage. That'd be pretty cool. These are beautiful. I love maps. That's like definitely one of my super nerdy things. Like I've drawn lots of maps for D&D, and just like maps are really beautiful, you know. Colorado, this one's very green. Maybe it's worth considering. Here's LA. The colors and stuff, right? That Colorado map was extremely green. Here's like a whole West Coast, right? This is going, wait, what is this? Oh, this is Northern California. I see. Berkeley, home. Arkansas. I think maybe I'll take from Northern California. I don't know what I would do with the map in this collage, but I might do something. So I'm going to just pull it out for later. Take this one. I don't really know the direction I am going with this collage because I have 3 very big pictures that I think are all doing very much their own thing. And that's interesting. It could be cool to have like water and then like replace the sky in some capacity with maps. I love like the idea of taking a certain element and cutting that out and then having that be replaced by a different element that, you know, one wouldn't expect. Or like cutting out the silhouettes of these people on the water so that we can see through, and then like underneath they are the maps. That would be really cool. I'm just gonna do that. I think that's the starting point. You know, we are the map. We are the direction in which we try to go, that sort of thing, which is gonna be some very careful cutting on these human silhouettes. They're the sisters of the Gorgons. They share that one eye gives them great wisdom and insight that Perseus steals to find Medusa. Reese Cicciarelli, that's very Italian, replace the water with the road, but keep the people in the water. That's interesting. I wonder how well that would read, right? Also welcome in, because when we cut out the water, right, and then place the 2 people back on top of it, I'm not sure the context would come in that it's like water, people, mountains, because it might be, you know, interpreted as grass. It might be interpreted as something else. And maybe that's okay, right? Maybe that's okay. But then, like, also, if I cut out all the water, right, and then the people go back on top, then, like, I have to take out the whole thing, cut out the people themselves, put the people back on, which might be kind of tricky. You know what would be cool, though, right? If I did that, cut out all the water, cut out the people, and then somehow layered it such that like the human silhouettes could be offset from I'm trying to cook here. Maybe that still just involves cutting out the people, though. And I was thinking, Reese, that the map could be the sky, so that it would be people being poked through with map, and then map in the sky, so they're sort of connected that way. I'm just not sure cutting out. I'm not sure it would work. And it's dangerous, right? In collage, like a lot of things you can glue back on, but with these big cuts, it can be quite quite the danger. Quite the difficult thing. Um, Maybe I'll leave it for now and keep thinking. Oh, back to the hags. The sisters of the Gorgons, they share one eye that gives them great wisdom and insight that Perseus steals. So Perseus steals wisdom from the hags to find Medusa, because they're her sister. That's pretty cool. I love those Greek um, those Greek heroes and those tragedies and the comedies. I've read a few of them, and they are really, really great pieces. Very powerful. Man, I don't know. I have to keep thinking about this. Maybe I'll flip through more magazines, and y'all can help with the words and stuff. I think travel magazines. We'll keep it in the Nevada Southwest kind of area. I think that's good because we have this map idea, we have this going places idea, and I think magazines in this of this ilk might be good. Oh, look at that truck. Oh, that's messed up. Wait, is that a redwood tree? Guys, I'm gonna zoom in on this. It's a truck pulling a giant redwood stump. That's been turned into a house or like an RV, which is probably kind of shitty because redwood trees should be alive and old growth, and cutting that stuff down sucks. But still kind of cool. You said you like that greetings from. I do remember seeing a greetings from, and from Mesquite. Yeah, I don't know why anyone would go to Mesquite. Mesquite really sucks, actually. But we can take out greetings from. I think that's a cool vibe. Maybe. Has that travel idea. It'll probably be difficult to cut it down smaller because it has this weird like bubble letter mesquite happening in the background, but maybe we'll get it to work. Maybe, just maybe. Oh, okay. I almost cut off the G there. Almost split the G. That would be... Oh, greetings from Promised Lands? That's cool. I do like that. It's such a stark contrast here. The loopy greetings from, and then this really stark, plain serif font type Promised Lands. It's a cool contrast. I'm going to cut this one down. Like that. Very possibly. Still trying to think what to do with that water, which way it should go. Oh, look. This is a guy at Burning Man. What year is this? This is Burning Man. When is this from? Extreme camping at Burning Man, it says on the cover. When is this from? It's always interesting to see when these are dated. Oh, 2004. So this is probably before Burning Man was like full of... I don't know if Burning Man's always been shitty and full of like tech people from Silicon Valley, but I'd imagine at one point it was kind of cool. Best afternoon show. Letters. I do like this just letters. This idea of distance, this idea of communication, travel, motion from far places. I'm just gonna rip this one out. One thing with collage, you know, I have all these like knives and scissors and things, but ripping is also a totally functional way to just do collage. You don't need all the fancy stuff. Not that scissors are that fancy, but maybe all the X-Acto blades, paper cutter, kind of things like that. Backcountry blooms. Doug Bruja prefers the dirt road less traveled. Less traveled could work, right? We could use this. I don't know how that all works with the roads, right? We have the maps, we have the water. Maybe that makes sense. Like, we are the road less traveled. That's getting very Robert Frost, right? Could be interesting to sort of, you know, make some reference to Robert Frost. What, road less taken, road not taken? I always forget what the actual poem is called. You can just cut off the dirt. Yeah, I can cut off the dirt. It would create an interesting spacing, right? There's like road, less traveled. Could be pretty cool visually. So 2004. That's when I was born. When this magazine got, you know, sent out to the people of America, I was 4 or 5 months old. 5 months old. It's kind of wild. I've biked here. I'm one of these people sometimes. That's pretty cool. You need to add that bones to your collection. That bones. What did I... Bones? Was there a word? Oh, bones. Yeah. Not for this poem, but it could be good for another future thing. I do like that idea. That goes in the hoard, in the pile. Does she have a whip? That's wild. I mean, that's Vegas, right? Beautiful Great Basin. I've not been there. Trees at the top. Ooh. This is like another later one, but like taking out some of these words. Like age is the one thing that makes. Could be a pretty cool thing. Could be a whole nother. Could actually go in this poem. The tree in the middle is lovely. Yeah, it's another one of those like windows that we're peeking through. I love that, like, compositionally, when we're looking through one thing, seeing another thing. I think this person... No, I don't think that's a dog. I think that's just another stick. But yeah, that's such a great... Everything's going this way, the clouds. Really pretty. I'm gonna keep this picture for another time. Put it in this bin. I mean, maybe we could use it. I'm not sure how many elements we're gonna go with this piece, but it could still go in a lot of directions. The Beatles? Were they alive in 2004? When did the Beatles die? Are the Beatles still... Some of them are dead, right? This probably wasn't 2004. This was 1964. Okay, that's when that picture is from. I saw there's a place out there. There's a place out there. Was it? Oh, with this chef guy? He looks mean. He looks like he's smiling, but he doesn't know how. But someone told him to, and he has to look somewhat happy. But he doesn't know how to be happy because he's a chef, and he like works like 80 hours straight in like awful kitchens, and then smokes a lot and drinks to get through it. But actually the food workers and the have this one of the strongest unions in Las Vegas. So maybe not. Screaming at the top of their lungs. His face would be good for a future project. Yeah, I cut off his hat though. I feel like it might be strange. Oh, even this one too. Arms around each other's shoulders. Heike, good lines here. Not for today. The Great Nevada Book Sale. Should we go? The Tool Artists. Walker River Paiute. Mike Williams makes decoys using 2,000-year-old techniques. Sounds pretty cool. That's dope. Got some caves. Nevada Dude Ranches. Is that like Ram Ranch? When was that? That was like a few years ago. That's his. Danielle created quite a stir the day she first disrobed and went skinny dipping in the pool. Making a decoy sounds like a poem title. It really does. Yeah. That's a good word. I feel like we're finding lots of things that are inspiring on their own and maybe don't fit with the poem that we're talking about or trying to make. But the poem could very well just change directions. When You Go has a obvious meaning here within the context, and perhaps a much better poetic meaning, right? If we have this like map, people, going places, promised lands, when you go, the people as the map. I think we're going with people as map, not water as map. And then I'll keep the silhouettes and like maybe even like reflect them up into the sky or something so they're up there too, or like offset them. I'm not sure. But and then it'll be like when you go and they're like looking off into this distance that is then live the good life. These are good. These are good. I'm gonna cut these people out. I'm gonna try to carefully extract them from the page, which is very. If I can like zoom in on the surgical precision with which I must do this. They're very small, right? I'm gonna like not talk for multiple minutes while I try to nail this. The tricky thing is like you want to go slow, but then you have to use a lot of pressure to cut through the page. And then when you have a lot of pressure, the knife is very subject to slipping the way you don't want it to go. And then that's not a good thing. Oh, this guy's like on a board kind of thing. And then this is his reflection. It's hard to tell where that stops. I think he has a board that goes like this way. Yeah, the board should put the mic so it, the board goes this way, I think, and then the reflection kind of starts here. Or maybe it's a floaty kind of thing. I think either way, the fact that he has this arm. Oh, but this is going to happen. This triangle is going to be... Maybe I have to keep the triangle. That'd be really annoying. But I think I might try to keep it and then put it back on the map, because that will help him read as a person and not a blob. That's annoying, though. Top of his head. I don't know why he's a he. I feel like he very well could be a she. I guess maybe it's like something subtle about his silhouette. And then I think she's a she. Is this uncalled for? Is this... Does this make sense to anyone? That this is a guy and this is a girl? Because that's how they read to me. But maybe they're just kids, and then it's just impossible to tell because kids are so androgynous. They look sort of child proportioned. Well, maybe I won't be using that. We get it? But bam. I don't think that reads perfectly well as a person. But maybe it does. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on. I think maybe putting the triangle back will help. Welcome in. The classics are Ace. How are you? We're currently doing some collage that will make itself into something relating to poetry, hopefully, in the next couple hours. I've been better, but at the moment I'm okay. How about you? How am I? What a great question. I guess people tend to ask that one a lot because it's a good question. How am I? I've had like a very good couple of days. I've been very inspired. Partially because I joined my friend's D&D campaign, which is with a group that I was kind of in for a long time, and then I stopped playing with them for about a year or so. And, I really missed them. But now I'm back in that D&D group. So, it's good to kind of... Does that tiny triangle help this read as more human? I think it does. I think it helps. It's so subtle. Anyway, so I've been kind of inspired rejoining this D&D group, and I've been like making my character, and that's been very fun. I've been doing a lot of world building because the DM he leaves a lot of that up to the player, because it's this sci-fi world and there's like all of this going on. So I have a lot of like creative license, which has led me to make a language. So I for that world, because I want the names of things that I make to be like logically consistent, which is super excessive. But I've been having a lot of fun making the language and doing that stuff and making the character. Otherwise, I've been like pretty poetically inspired by some ideas. I've been writing some stuff on my own, maybe to post at some point online about sort of a philosophical framing of poetry and of art more broadly as a game that like we play as people that has certain rules and goals and restrictions and traditions. And it's an interesting way to think about art. Put a part where a bunch of dots together in the head, maybe. I think that would be cool. I was kind of moving it around, and I think if we came down south to more the Bay Area here, like I don't know how many words we want this. Like we could have Stockton, you know. Um, I feel like I could totally maybe here, Sacramento. Oh wait, look, it's almost like a heart when we put the intersection of these roads. Oh, y'all can't see shit. My bad. Hard to juggle where the camera is and where I am and all of that. Trying to move things around. Okay, Stockton, Sacramento, not Stockton. There's this big intersection of roads here, as I zoom in even further, that totally gives the impression of this being like this person's heart with all these like arteries and veins coming out of it. The red and the blue that's happening kind of gives that implication. So I might just center the whole thing around this kid being Stockton. And then this kid would be probably like Napa, it looks like. So I think that's cool. I like both of those places. Sorry, not Stockton, Sacramento. Don't cancel me, Sacramento individuals. And I think I'm gonna glue down this triangle for this child's the space of their arm, and then that will like really point toward that capital star being his heart. And then I'll have the frame of reference that everything else kind of lines up with there. And everything else can kind of go from that point. That's good. It's always good to be centered, you know? That looks awesome. I agree. By the way, I discovered your channel at the perfect time since one of your streams randomly came up on YouTube, recommended a few days ago, and I've been trying to get more into writing poetry lately. Awesome. Yeah, so just these like once a week evening streams are obviously me doing something a little different, you know, making my own art. But the other 3 times a week I am doing, you know, analyzing poetry, talking, teaching, and yeah, I'm super glad you found it, and I'm glad you're getting more into writing poetry. Is it something that you once did and then now are sort of finding again, or are you brand new or something entirely different? That's always, you know, sometimes people, right, we pick up an art and then we move away from it and then we come back, and that's always a nice sort of thing to find it again. But if you're brand new, that's also super cool, because I feel like it's the people who are new. Like sometimes I think about when I started doing poetry, right? I think about when I started, and I remember just like how incredibly creative I was, because I had no sort of frame of reference of the restraints and like the bounds of the art. And that was like a really cool period of my writing where I made some really creative and unique pieces, because I didn't have that sort of learned judgment. You know, in like Buddhism, they talk about the beginner's mind, right? In Zen. And I feel like that's a cool thing. Welcome in, Mr. Aegis and Raiders. We're doing collage, and I'm cutting out people from this lake, and having a map kind of poke through behind them. And then we're gonna take this scene and throw some poetry on it. That's kind of what we're doing. I know y'all came in and you just have this strange zoom up of the Sacramento highways, kind of popping through this, uh, very vague and confusing scene. So that's what's going on. But welcome, Mr. Aegis and friends. uh, for those of you who don't know, my name is Imogen. I do poetry. I often can be found teaching about poetry and talking about poetry on Twitch, but every so often I'll do collages to make some of my own art. And Mr. Aegis, how was your stream? For those of y'all who don't in my community who don't follow Mr. Aegis, he's the goat actually. He's a health teacher who talks about awesome lessons and really valuable things and teaches stuff, and then has ferrets, and is very cool. We had a lesson about ferrets since it's my ferret's adoption day. That's really super cool. I love that. What? So you probably have some like interesting ferret facts and information. Do you have any exciting ferret things to share with us today, Mr. Aegis? Lotus eaters, Greek mythology mentioned. Yes. I mean, as a poet, as a writer, right? We were actually talking about Greek mythology like earlier on stream before y'all raided in. Greek mythology is pretty inescapable, right? For this art form, and it's also funny because I chose the name Lotus and 2/3 Lotus, not because of like Greek mythology, but because of like yoga and like sitting in lotus and all of that stuff. But the lotus is cool because it's symbolic in a whole host of cultural and religious traditions. And I think that's pretty cool. It's also in Magic the Gathering, right? The Black Lotus. I play Magic as well because I'm a big nerd. So yeah, it has lots of little places that it crops up in my life, and I like it as a flower, right? A ferret was once used to help Fermi Lab check a super long tube. That's crazy. So there was a physicist ferret. Does that ferret have a name? Like, that's super sick. I love that. That's so cool. Like, yeah, perfect job for such a long animal. Yeah. Um, yeah. Classics are ace. You said before the raid. In the past, I've only written poetry when I'm at my most emotional. I'm a film student, but I'm taking a break from my studies because of mental health. So I figured I need to do something else creative. The ferret's name was Felicia. Yeah, that's really interesting, Ace, because I started doing poetry when I was taking a break from music school, and I figured that I needed to be doing something creative with my time. So I started reading again after I left music school, and then I started writing poetry. So kind of similar story. And before that, it really was only that I had written a few poems in my like really emotional moments, and then immediately crumpled them up and threw them in the trash can because I thought, that was like embarrassing or something is what I used to think when I was a teenage boy, right? So I definitely kind of understand that arc, and poetry is such a cool way for expression, I think, because it's so accessible for lots of different people, because pretty much everyone in the world like can speak a language. And that means pretty much everyone in the world has the basic skill set, the basic capability to be making poetry. And that's just like a very inspiring fact to me that, poetry is just this arrangement of words, something we already know, into like the most beautiful way we can think of, right? And that means it's, yeah, anyone can kind of do it. Anyone can pick it up. Anyone can uh in their moment of emotion as a as a 15-year-old, write a poem about a sweater and then throw it in the trash. I do remember it was not a sweater, actually. It was about a hoodie, and it was about how it was very cold and how I just felt like there was nothing in the world that could warm me up. I was I was very depressed, and luckily I'm a lot warmer now. I found that warmth, right? So that's good. Hating on our younger self's poetry is a rite of passage. Yeah, and it's really interesting for me because like some people have been writing poetry for, they're like the I've been writing poetry for my whole life kind of people, right? Many of y'all exist. And I am not one of them. One of those people. I started writing poetry like 2.5 years ago, and just it started being the only thing I could conceptualize of like spending my time on. And so like except for that one poem that I've lost about the jacket, uh, all of my poetry, began in the last couple years. Okay, so this kid has Napa um, on the map. This is Northern California. And then this kid is the beating heart of Sacramento, the capital, which I think is pretty fitting. And even more super awesome and convenient is this lines up very well with the top of the map, the top of the actual map. So it will make a good clean edge when we later go and replace the sky with the map is what's happening. So for y'all who are coming in, we're going to cut out the sky. The sky is going to be the map, and the map is also going to show through on these two children, which is super cool, I think. It's this idea, we have this poem maybe coming together about traveling and, going places, the promised land, when you go, these kinds of ideas. So it's like we are the map, we are the direction is kind of the vibe that I'm going for here. If my poetry doesn't rhyme, really, would it be considered prose? Not necessarily, because poetry doesn't have to rhyme, first of all. Poetry is a really, really loose form, and if it doesn't rhyme, that doesn't exclude it from being poetry. There are very famous poems that barely rhyme at all. I mean, we can even think of haiku, a very enduring, right, tradition of Japanese poetry, which have no specific verse, but they're constrained by a number of syllables, or I think a certain number of characters. I think it's a little different how it actually works in Japanese than how like we describe it in English with like the 575 syllables. Like that's the best we get as a translation. I need to get a towel for my brush that I brushed glue on. Yeah, I use this brush to do glue. But if I don't rinse it and wipe it off, then it turns into glue brush, and that's not good. So yeah, poetry doesn't necessarily need to rhyme. We can do all sorts of things with poetry. There are visual poems, which often don't have that sort of metrical verse, those kinds of structures. Um, so there are all sorts of things that we can do. Prose is really about something that reflects, probably reflects like the plain spoken language, the novelistic kind of thing where like it's grammatical, it's sentences, though it doesn't always have to be. So that. Um, I have too many things. Too many things. Uh, yeah, I have tons of poetry that doesn't rhyme. I once wrote poetry based on Minecraft and turned it in for an English project. I got a 0 for plagiarism. I didn't even know a Minecraft poem existed, and I cried so hard in class that I threw up. Man, I mean, I feel like I feel like that's a teacher problem because, there are a million poems about love and there are a million poems about all sorts of things. and and just because like another Minecraft poem exists and maybe there are similar themes within, a poem about Minecraft, it probably wasn't directly plagiarized. And maybe if your teacher had asked you to try to understand, um, you know, like I think the easiest way to ask a student to see if they plagiarized is just to ask them like, hey, um, how did you come up with inspiration for this? And students love, like, kids love to explain their art. They will just tell you like what they made. And if the kid starts saying, "Oh, well, like it's from this game Minecraft, and I like did all these things, and there's these like sheep and these pigs and these villagers in this game, and I wanted to like include those," like it's pretty obvious that that kid isn't plagiarizing. But just to like mark the student down, to mark you down for that, seems pretty like not cool. And I find so often, I hear so many stories about teachers, English teachers being the ones who ruin poetry for students. And I think it's because schools have this very restrictive way of teaching where, they want you to kind of conform and follow rules, and poetry and art, it's this thing that fundamentally doesn't conform with rules, and looks to break the rules of language, and be expressive. And I think, I mean, a lot of teachers don't understand that, and that's not their fault, right? These are like people who might like, English teachers probably got like a degree in English, right? But that doesn't mean they're poets. That doesn't mean they have any personal knowledge or understanding of poetry as an art. So part of it is also an educational system that, makes teachers teach a lot of things that they might not, have a good like personal understanding of. So, you know, that's why I do it on Twitch. And I try to be much more considerate and compassionate about poetry because a lot of people have poetry ruined for them in school. And that's really not cool, right? I'm only a few months away from graduating, but my depression means I don't feel confident in what I'm studying. Oh, yeah, I totally understand that. I had to drop out of the final film project I was meant to direct, so I think it helps for me to get my emotions out in writing, and and in turn find my strengths in that medium. Yeah, switching mediums, right, can always be really helpful. Like when I was in music school, uh, music became this thing of like work, and it became this really regimented thing. And I stopped, having that feeling of expression. And when that went away, I think I needed to find something else. And it sounds like maybe that's the same for you. Something else to get that feeling, that outlet of expressing. And like I said, I think poetry is a great place for anyone to be able to do that, right? Um, But I wish you well in the battle against depression. It's a hard one. It can be a long one. Make sure to give yourself time, compassion. The fact that you are expressing and making art as part of that is a really good sign, I think. And also I think I saw in chat you said that you're like sharing some of your poetry, and that's also such a good way to heal, right? Um, Art can be therapeutic, literally, and therapy with the therapist is this sharing of emotions, but art is very much a similar thing if we choose to, share it with the world and expose those deepest parts of ourselves. That can be really, really good. Okay, we cut the sky off, which now gives us this sort of sky, and we'll cut the page down to fit that well. So the sky will kind of be here, and that will be the background, some of the background for this. I think this is cool. I like what's going on here. Wasn't word for word. I didn't do anything for that class after. Yeah, like if a teacher makes you cry and sort of causes you all that embarrassment about art, like why would anyone want to do that again? That's a really like painful experience, and I bet that was just very hard. I feel like I retained more of what I learned through browsing Wikipedia as a kid than when I learned at school, but it depends on how passionate the teachers are. Yeah, I mean, so I've had this thought recently that like learning is something of a game where we have this like goal of getting knowledge. We have these like rules of maybe like the literal rules of what information is out there. And it can be very fun to sort of play this game of, acquiring knowledge and information. But no game is fun, really, when you're forced to play it by someone else. And I think, you know, in school, I loved reading as a young kid when, I could sort of read whatever I wanted, and I enjoyed reading. I was very far ahead in like my reading level or whatever ahead means, right? And then once the teachers started saying, you have to read Of Mice and Men, I started to stop reading. And, the funny thing is I've recently gone back and read that particular book, Of Mice and Men by Steinbeck, and I found it to just be an absolutely incredible piece of art that like moved me and impacted me. And it really, it's sort of sad that for a lot of students, being taught is the thing that takes the joy out of learning. And that's not, again, to the fault of teachers, because teachers like just most of the time are absolutely doing their best and really are compassionate for students. But it's often these systems in which they have to, too much to do, not enough resources, too many kids in classes, right? And then like these broader cultural difficulties of like TikTok and, kids that are phone addicted. And it's a very slow, bureaucratic kind of setting, right? Lots of reasons for the teacher to be at a pretty fundamental disadvantage there. This is my line. These scissors really suck. One time I used them to like try to pry open something that was made of metal. I was like prying some shit with trying to use them like pliers. And ever since then they have like a dent like in the middle of the scissors here. They're kind of crunchy. They make a lot more sound than I would like them to, and they don't cut great. Kind of annoying. But they work. They work, and I have scissors, which is an excellent... It's better than no scissors, right? So this is sort of our scene. Put that back there. Mostly cut that straight. I'll have to trim it down just a little bit more on one of the sides, which is a super difficult thing, right? I want this to line up exactly vertically as the sky. But that's a problem for later, definitely. Fortunately, my lecturers gave me permission to go home and rest until after Easter. So we'll have to see how I feel then. Yeah, make sure you're using this time that you've been afforded, like you say, restfully. It's good that you have that sort of chance to step away and have a little break. I'm sure that'll be good for you. Been having issues with my antidepressants making me ill in the past few days. Got a prescription changed. Yeah. I was on those for like a long time, between the antidepressants, the antipsychotics, the mood stabilizers. I went through the whole like 50% of the things that the psychiatrist could prescribe to someone with bipolar. And after many years of that, I found that at least now I no longer really need those. I cut that off of the wrong side because I need to line this up down here, but I can just cut this horizontally and I think it'll be fine. I think it will be fine. Just slice all of this. I don't think this is a mistake. I think this is okay. This guy goes here. And then I can kind of line this up as I want. And then this will line up right there. And that looks pretty straight. Try to slide this down. Oh, it's different parts. The sky is a map. I think that's a cool notion to have here. And the children are the map. And it's like the places you will go. What is this piece inspired by? Well, what we did at the start is we just kind of grabbed a bunch of random words from partially the little bowl of words that I've collected over time that I thought were cool and then like didn't make it into pieces. Grabbed words that kind of felt inspiring for today, and then tried to start finding pictures that fit with that vibe. So we started with, really what I'm going off of is like promised lands, when you go, road less traveled, and then, some of this like put it off for one more day, good life, sun kind of stuff. So kind of this vibe of, summer and taking it easy and like this sort of motion of summer and the excitement and youth. I feel like that's a theme that often comes up in my collage pieces. Not so much my written poems, but it seems to be something I often come back to in works like this. I'm gonna glue this one down and then try to construct the thing. That's cool. Limitations can often be the blessing of creativity. Exactly. And And it's like usually it works best, I find, when I grab just a few words and try to do as much as I can with a small amount. Because especially with the collage, when you start to get like so many different words and pictures and, too many elements going on, it can get very overwhelming for me. And I don't like my collages to feel overwhelming, right? I want them to feel beautiful and poetic, and sometimes I see collage and it's just like a whole lot of things on a page, and it can be very artistically effective. There's a lot of collage I like that has like many elements, but for me, I've always been more of an artistic minimalist, trying to do more with less whenever I can. I gravitate towards short poems. I gravitate toward, oftentimes simpler language. I think it's a little bit more accessible and readable and allows more people to soak in the good art. Greetings from a place out there would be nice together. Yeah, and definitely when we get to like the assembling the words part, on the poem we did last stream, I don't know where I put that. Um, Almost this whole thing was like arranged by just chat kind of telling me the arrangements of words that y'all thought would be cool. So particularly when we get to gluing words down, chat gets a lot of a lot of creative license with the work. Very collaborative. What'd you say? Greetings from a place out there? Where was greetings? So y'all see things I don't even. Oh, greetings from. I feel like Jessica also mentioned that combination earlier. Greetings from a place out there. So maybe this will be the one of our set in stone things for the poem. I do like that a lot. Okay, so I want to figure out how much sky to have, because I have a little license here to give it, more of California, or I could do a very small kind of square piece. I think that seems too little. You mentioned greeting from, but it was something else. Oh, maybe you said greetings from promised lands. Might have been that. Little more. This is roughly. It's funny, like the thing that I guess it's ending up roughly similar to the original amount here. Maybe a little smaller. I don't know. I want to glue it down just so I have like a page, so I can stop having all this stuff hanging off and moving around. I think that looks good. I'm just gonna glue it down. Sometimes you just gotta make a decision. Commit, Can't be too wishy-washy, hemming, hawing, undecisive, blah blah blahing. Just gotta do stuff, There we go. Stick that down. Okay. That's a rough background-ish kind of thing. I feel like this needs to be like higher up. It's a very big piece. It's a full page kind of collage. I'm not sure I've actually ever made a collage poem that is quite this big. I love how small it makes these people feel, relative to the whole page. I think that's good, to to make pieces that make people feel small amidst worlds that are bigger and broader and um, reach to places they could never even imagine. And I think that's something very, very childish in a sense that, before you know really how big the world is, the world just seems endless and massive and it is, like, once you find out about like the universe and stuff, but the child doesn't even have a way to conceptualize this world with all this mystery and all this surprise. I think that's really special, right? I would give a lot to have that feeling more often. And maybe I can, right? Some people, there are ways to get into that sort of unjaded state, that simple moment of experience. It's not always easy, especially in a very loud, chaotic world. Just waxing poetic over here. I guess that's to be expected on a stream like this. The waxing poetic is a bit inescapable, so if that's not to people's taste, that's an invitation to to find other entertainment, unfortunately. Maybe if I don't know if that. So, okay. If I just cut through the one layer, sometimes you can kind of score it. Yeah, okay. Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. I like how this is the back. So that's our beginning. I'm really curious about using these two other children, or these, I guess they're the same children, but they're silhouettes. I'm not sure if there's a way to like bring them into the piece, some kind of reflected. I think just the idea of like them also existing in both parts in the negative could be kind of cool. I'm not sure this is the composition that quite works or if that looks good, but it's an idea. I'm still trying to, figure that out. It is cool, this reflection, though. That's the background. The background might not need more. I mean, maybe we have a sun, like we have the light clearly coming here. There's sort of like a sun setting over these mountains. Maybe. I mean, it's actually clouds mostly in the original. But there could be an argument to throw in some kind of sun-like shape or something like that. But it could also just be this and words, right? That might just be enough. Greetings from out there. Yeah. But I'm going to take a brief little break on stream to drink some water, go to the bathroom. Y'all do the same. I highly encourage you to stand up, remove yourself from the chair, remove yourself from the device, and, move. It's good for your body to not be sitting too long. It's good for your mind to step away, lay on your floor, stare at the ceiling. If, could be a good 3 minutes of ceiling time. But yeah, we'll be back in just 3 minutes to continue working on the collage soon. No, be right back. Welcome back. I am still Imogen. You're still watching my channel called Two Thirds Lotus. uh, uh, yeah, we are still collaging. Nothing has changed. Nothing ever happens. Moving from chair to couch, big movements being made. Heck yeah. That is a drastic change. I must remain in the chair. I sort of yearn to like be laid out flat on my floor and just let my back like bask in that, but unfortunately, I have a responsibility, a duty to my people as streamer to be in the chair. Can I get some glue under here, Heike? Yeah. Callie, welcome in. Well, if it isn't a 2/3 lotus. Oh, if it isn't 2/3 of a lotus. Well, if it isn't a Callie after dark. Do you switch to the Callie after dark account after dark comes? I guess it's probably been dark since the start of stream for you. It was dark actually for me when I started stream, and you were on the other. I think you were on the other Callie account at the start. I could be wrong. Why do you have two accounts? Why do you have multiple Twitch? Like, what's the function there, Callie? I'm very curious. You might be able to layer on some of the clouds. I think I might. I don't dislike the idea, and I wonder if, like, hey, look, I did that cut pretty well. Oh, actually, of course it fits. I cut it. Like I could do like these clouds, like the big dark ones, right? That's one option. Or I could try to find other clouds in a different piece, which then we might end up going and finding something else that's kind of interesting and some other exciting shapes that might fill out some of the scene here. Because these clouds are very detailed, right? And I think it might be difficult to... I mean, I could try, right? I could give it a go, try to cut out this big streak and this streak, and then sort of let the rest do its thing. It could be interesting to cut this cloud, right? And then have it be just separated and just lifted off. So you have this line, and then you have the cloud, and they like match. That's kind of, okay. I'm going to try this because that's cool. And then, yeah. Because someone timed me out one night and I wanted to say good morning. Fair enough. I respect that. Okay, so I'm gonna try this cloud because I think there's a vision with this cloud and doing some crazy cloud things. But it's all a matter of whether this cloud can be cut out in a Oh, so guys, collage, like high tech strategy, which I love doing, is to sand things down. Particularly, it works very well at edges, where you can start to like wear down the edge of the paper with the sandpaper, and then you get this like fading white kind of edge that goes around it. And I could do that on the clouds, which will like act as a border against the map very subtly, and then it'll kind of be dark light and then the color of the map. I like that idea. I might be getting sold on these clouds. I'll bring this back in for detailed camera view of me cutting clouds out. So go like that. Cutting is always so stressful. It's always hard. And like this necessarily loses some of the tiny details of the cloud, but I can definitely try to preserve, as much as I can. Uh, and it would be cool to cut out some of these inside sections as well, but that would be really tricky. I mean, I'm up for the challenge. We might just be here all night cutting out clouds, though. And then we could, like, paste it on the thing and it just not pay off. But, I guess sometimes that's the thing with collage and art. You imagine something, you think it'll be cool. You go and you actually put it in practice and you're like, wow, this is not what I expected. And sometimes, right, it's a good not expected, and sometimes it's a bad not expected, and you just have to try. But, it certainly can be frustrating when you spend time on something and it doesn't work out well. But maybe that's just the futility of like the human kind of condition, right? We try to do things, inevitably nothing works out. Cutting out clouds is being added to my inspo vault. That is a good line. Poetry can be found in all sorts of everyday, mundane, small, subtle things. It's always good that you have your poetry listening ears open, because that is a good little tidbit of language. That's fine. We'll just do that. I stopped because the knife slipped. And okay, wait. This could be super cool. This could look actually incredibly awesome. Yeah. Oh, I'm like really actually super. Ooh, guys, this is gonna be like bonkers cool. Yeah, okay. Nikki, you idea is good. This, yeah. Okay, I have to like not get too excited and like cut this in half or something. That would be bad. It's worse. The worst thing, right, is when you have something really cool, you know exactly how you want to use it, and then you like rip it in half accidentally, or like it's underneath and you like slice through it when cutting something else. Always a real tragedy. That I think even the great Greek tragic poets would probably appreciate. Sophocles and the like. Okay. Cutting out clouds. Cutting out clouds. It does have a, yeah, it has so like the CC, right? It does this like alliterative kind of motion. And then you have the out clouds, you have the assonance of that ow sound. Cutting out. And then you have the alliteration of the T's in cutting and out. That's a really yeah, it's an incredibly like sonically sort of consistent phrase. And then even though it doesn't rhyme or be assonant, you have the visual thing of every word of those three having a U in it. Yeah, that's a good I could see that working really well in a poem. Had to nerd out about literary techniques at least a little bit, right? Okay. Cut this guy. This is like, it gets exhausting. Like, I can write for a long time. I do a lot of handwriting, but that's because it's a very like no pressure, very light kind of touch. Cutting through this like thick magazine cover is very much a like physically we'll say physically strenuous activity, you know? Where it's just kind of hurts. And it probably helps that I rock climb, right? My hands would be much less happy if I was not, you know, clutching on to small ledges as often as I do. But doesn't make it more pleasant in this very moment. Okay, so this one is like super prone to just ripping off. So I have to be really careful because this is connected by a tiny little narrow thing here. Dharma Dom, welcome. You say, wow, cool. You haven't even seen the super cool part of this clouds that we're cutting out, which is what it's going on top of. And it does look really good on the black, right? But this is going on this scene. Okay, and then the clouds are sitting just separated right here. Oh, it's so sick. Oh, it's so sick. That's like, guys, that's so cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah, popping off. Yeah, and I think it'll look even better if I cut out some of these little details on the inside of the clouds to have more coming through. Yeah. Oh, I'm the super cool part. Thank you, Dom. Yeah, welcome. We're collaging. We're doing collage poetry, and there will be poetry eventually once we get over the cutting out clouds section of stream. Okay, so I want to take out this big section here, maybe even, yeah, like that, because that'll be cool. We're gonna take out all of this so it's connected by another very narrow little bridge. You love doing digital collages. I have never done a digital collage myself. I am an analog collage collager. Analog collage. I want something with that aw sound to be poetically sort of interesting. Analog collage frog. I'm a frog. I very well could be. Boom. That gets cut out. And then cut out this little one here. Oh, analog collage all tour. Get hidden with the fancy Frenchy words. Auteur, is that how you say it? That's the one. Cause then it has the, yeah, that's the one. Poetic, very poetic. You're a poet. Cut out this little thing at the side. And then we're gonna sand down the edges of this. I guess the whole way around, which is really gonna suck. I don't think I have a nail file, but I can lay the sandpaper down flat. I just punched the mic. Sorry if that was loud. Lay down the sandpaper. Oh, look at this. This is the backside with the... and then we can just gently start to get that glowing edge, hopefully. Yeah. See how that glows just a little bit? Has that white edge? Hard to see. I need to do a little more. But it is good for having stuff pop. Probably helps to drag it. Dom, what do you use to make digital collages? How do you go about that? Since it's a space that I'm entirely unfamiliar with. Y'all see that white edge? That's cool. It's very cloud-like. I guess there's probably lots of ways. Just Photoshop? Gotcha. I guess that's cool. You can like manipulate. Oh, you can make stuff like more transparent. Oh, that would be... Okay. That does sound really cool. I feel like sometime in my life I ought to try that. You can probably also like do, yeah, like transparent and like masks and like have stuff with really nice clean digital edges. That could definitely be cool. I'll show you my stuff sometime. Awesome. Yes, you will. This slide. But Dom, does Photoshop have a sandpaper the edges of your cutout tool? I don't think so. I mean, it actually probably does have something that would accomplish that goal, but I get to do sandpaper. I get to have the analog experience. This one is super delicate. Maybe it's better to do it like that. I think that's enough. Maybe... Oh, should have done it like this to begin with. It is way better. Remembering my old techniques. You can get textures of paper or whatever and layer it on top in complex ways. Oh, yeah. Oh, I bet yeah, I mean, online, right? The possibilities are truly endless. And maybe it's to my advantage that I do the analog, because I simply get overwhelmed sometimes when there's a great wealth of options and anything is possible, right? Sort of blank page issue. And when I have to like find the stuff through magazines, you know, I'm fundamentally limited by the search. And I do like that. I do like that. Oh, it's so soft, that outline. Yup, it probably doesn't come well, like, super well on screen, but the paper itself just has this softness from the sandpaper, and it really just it's just tasty. Oh, gorge, and it has that separation, so it perfectly follows the the mountains because this was cut directly from it. Unless we want to go down. Like we could. No, separating is cooler. Um That'll be the clouds. I wonder because we have the kid silhouettes. I don't know where the other one went. If the kid silhouettes could somehow be in the clouds. Like if this kid was. Oh, the kids have a back. This one's like very. Oh. Look, so guys, check this out. The original thing, the child was just like dark and silhouette and shadowy, like same as the mountains. But on the back, the kid was clearly like water, and this kid has a whole ass like orange reflection where his face is. And then this kid is just like kind of blue as opposed to black. And when I flip them, right? When I flip them, it creates the mirror of the kids down there. So they're going the other way. And then I just need to put these kids somewhere up here to make that work. And I feel like them kind of like if I did like an over under. I don't know if they should be in the clouds. I mean, it's kind of cool. Yeah. Wait, that does kind of slap, actually. I don't know where this kid can go. Maybe just here. And kind of... This kid looks less good. Maybe the kid should be on this side, because then it's the reverse. Oh, dude. Wait. See, like I never would have come up with this on Photoshop, right? Like the fact that I have the thing that remains cut out, like the medium gives so much to the piece. So this kid's foot needs to be visible, I think. It's actually really hard to make this one read as child in water in the same way that it does here. Because I cut that so... This big straight line is very awkward for this child. Plus, I suppose doing it analog can feel more personal. Right. I mean, being able to hold a thing is pretty special. Right. That's an upside. Of course, one can always print. It's not the same, I think. A lot of graphic design people mix in some analog part of the process, like using a scanner and printing it, and layering it lots of ways. That little nook he was in didn't look bad, IMO. This one here, oh, maybe it is just right. Maybe it's getting him under, or her, under and over. Like that, maybe he, I feel like, do I have a pen that's that shade of purple? I feel like part of it is that her head, I don't think this will be dark enough, but maybe it will. Like, maybe that will just help her read a little bit better as human shaped. Oh, that actually helped a lot. Dope. because it was a little bit frayed. Now I think she looks a little more human. Right there? Is that the spot? Tiny bit lower. Okay. She goes like that. He goes like that. And then part of it is no matter what, it will read as them because they're reflected in the sky, right? Oh, it's so dreamlike. Oh, it's beautiful. Guys, it's so cool. I love when I love my art. Like we don't always make things that we really like. But this one is just it's just speaking to me, um, in all the good ways. It's saying beautiful words into my ear or something. uh, yeah, sometimes I need to talk less. Okay. Glob that down. Line it up so it all lines up. Get this one. Oh, no glue on the cutting board. That's not good. Okay. I almost want you to distress the top of the mountains. I agree. I had the thought. I think it would look good. I can do that too, and it'll make the whole thing just have that additional bit of softness. So I definitely agree with that, and you saying it specifically is a good reminder, so I don't forget. Oh, I love how this cloud, it looks like a little wave that she's kind of, floating over, surfing over in a sense. I think that's really cool. um, okay. That one's stuck down. Where's my knife? Glue. Some glue there. Glue this kid down next. Okay. Trying very hard. He's slipping. Gluing and cutting are the mildly stressful parts of collaging always. Because the glue, right? It's like liquid. It's sticky. It it gets everywhere. It is fairly permanent once you really stick something, and you can try to unstick it, but then you end up ripping stuff. And yep. But I think it looks good. Actually, yeah, it looks really good. More glue. Have you ever tried using Super 77? I love that stuff. Works better than glue for stuff sometimes. I don't think this is actually glue. It's like, I forgot what it is actually. But my mom does art. And this is some kind of liquid that it's not white glue. It's something different in this bottle than white glue that I am using. It I don't know what it is though, because my mom gave it to me and said use this for collage. because she's a very very art kind of person. I guess she's like an artist, is not just an art kind of person. She is a visual artist. Um, so I don't actually know what I'm using. I'm just using the thing in the bottle that. No, it's not Mod Podge because I have that over there, and that's I think a Mod Podge is maybe a little goopier. Um, I don't know. I really don't know. Um, oh, way too much glue or glue not glue there. Um, Mod Podge is a glue-like substitute. Yeah, I know, but it's not Mod Podge. Cause let me see. Is it? Well, it's not that. Um, wait, is it? Yeah, I have no idea. Um, don't know. My mom talks to me all the time about different art supplies and things that she uses, and I get all the words mixed up. All I know is I have a bottle of stuff that I can brush on that works very well for collage, and maybe I should ask her that. Um, I don't know. Like, Mom, what is this stuff that I use? Chat wants to know. Yeah, but I like this stuff a lot. It dries pretty quick. It's like very sticky. Like it stays. Um, Good, holds good. At least when I apply it well and consistently and get all the corners down, which I usually suck at. Super 77 is a spray adhesive, and it's super easy and very strong. Oh, okay, spray could be interesting, right? Like you just kind of spray it on the back of the thing, and you're good to go. That might be neat. That might be hard, like just sitting here in my bedroom. I mean, I have a window open, so it would probably be okay. Um, it's just a matter of having a spot to do that and not spray it on other stuff. And you know, inhale. You know, I don't want to be sniffing glue, right? While I'm collaging, but that does sound cool. Okay, let's distress these mountains, or try to. I feel like I should get a smaller piece of this. I just use an empty box. It works great. Yeah, I have done, like I've sprayed primer on like D&D minis, but usually, you know, I just like take the box. Like I like doing that stuff outside, you know. But I guess there's no reason I couldn't do it indoors. Let's distress these mountains. The mountains are very distressed. I'm sorry, mountains, for causing you distress, but it's for the greater purpose of making a good piece of art. Okay, now they have just a little glow on the edge, and they're a little softer. I love this. This is like there's some children's book quality to this piece, I feel. I'm gonna laugh if she says Mod Podge. I use it a lot in Collage. It would be funny. I can ask her when I do the next break, which is in 20 minutes, though she might be asleep already. Gosh, I still love the Sacramento highway heart of this child. That's so cool. Um, so, wow. That's the background. Now we need to do the words. Um, and I think we should have title up here. Uh, Maybe I should have waited on the clouds. Um, because then I could have. Well, actually, the good thing is some of these edges aren't still glued down. Because, like, things being able to, go slightly underneath is a vibe I always like, tucking things in. But it looks like I still can. So my only thing is that, like I love greetings from a place out there, and simultaneously, like, this text is so noisy, right? Um, and that's just like probably clashes with like the elegance of the piece, right? I just realized that one kid's head has light in it, and he has the highway heart. Yeah, yeah. He's definitely the better kid out of the two. I, you know, this person. I mean, they've got Napa, which is cool. Um, but and Napa's that's yeah, that's where my grandma lives. um, Greetings from I. You see, I just feel like the greetings from like is so. I mean, maybe I can try to cut it closer to the edge and it might look better. For me, it's just the giant red and yellow, like McDonald's looking ass mesquite Q that's coming in here, and maybe it's just that like mesquite is a stupid backwater in Nevada. No, no hate to anyone from Mesquite, but uh, miserable place. Um, but maybe if we excise any trace of Mesquite from these letters, I can use it. Because the cursive is kind of pretty. Like, sure, it's a little marker, but it could work okay. Cutting down text is always really tricky to do well. I could also cut it down and then distress the edges again to take some of that color away, which might help that feel extra more natural. Uh, so that's all. You're from Victorville? Oh, Victorville. Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty miserable high desert kind of place. Or is Victorville on the other side of the high desert? I don't remember. Victorville's closer to LA. Yeah. Actually, we could probably find Victorville on the map. Actually, no, it's probably covered by. Actually, this is Northern California, so we just wouldn't find Victorville. Victorville is nowhere near any of that. I've driven through Victorville some number of times. Or been driven because I don't drive. uh, I'm not sure we've ever stopped there. Okay. See, it's so colorful. Okay, maybe I cut the words separately. And if this doesn't work, then I'm not doing greetings from. But I just hate this red and yellow. It's just so not like the colors of the rest of the piece. And it's like so good, the text. But I find that with like the visual poem, the visuals are equally important to the poem, right? If you've gone from Vegas to LA, you've definitely been through. Okay, then I have. Um, yeah. Is that better? I think it's better. And I think if the G gets cut down, it does have a youth to it. I acknowledge that. I'm like bargaining with this text right now. I'm like trying to make it work, trying to rationalize it. Um, Greetings from. What did we say? Oh, so we have a few options, right? Out there. Out there is very font. Greetings from the road less traveled. I like greetings from promised land. Um, Greetings from, right, the good life. Now it kind of looks like a flower in the background. It kind of does. Yeah. It's more acceptable. Um, Out there. Reminds me of that Ben Minot Min I I don't know why I like sit and try to pronounce things like that. From the YouTube channel Oddity Archive, released an album called Greetings from Elder Bush Gulch. Elder Bush Gulch. Yeah, when we get past 10 p.m. is when I start not being able to pronounce words. Um, you, you might gather from the way I barely managed to get through all of those words the classics erase that I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's an evocative name. Greetings from Elderbush Gulch. I do like it. Has it sounds ominous to me. Elderbush Gulch. Greetings from out there is a lot of colors, but maybe it's okay. I guess maybe it should I separate out and there? Should I distress it a lot? At least the edges. Greetings from out there being like faded and distressed is certainly cool to me. Maybe it goes like greetings from out there, and then we cut it in half. When I was little, my parents lied to me and told me State Line was Vegas. We drove past it one day, and they told me the truth, and I was so mad. I mean, fair enough. But Vegas is just not that great. As a multiple year Vegas resident, like it's just so it's a place of incredible excess and bad decisions and money being taken from like regular people into the hands of these big casino conglomerates, and then there's like homeless people living underneath it, like literally in tunnels. um it's such a stark capitalism of like the highs and lows of stark contrast of the highs and lows of capitalism and excess and splendor. Really very painful in many ways. Oddity Archive is a great channel if you're interested in strange old media. It was inspired by a silent 1920s film he liked. That's cool. Oddity Archive. Old stuff is pretty sick. Old is got too aggro. I got too aggro with the sandpaper, guys. Maybe that's okay. Maybe it could actually still look good. And it would look like it's been ripped in half and distressed and pieced back together. And it would give it less of that kitschy Western font kind of feel. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. I just can't rip it in half again, because then it might get too difficult. It can look like a weathered old sign. Yeah, I think that's now what we are going for. Yeah. Sandpaper is not always our friend. It can cause damage. Do like that. Okay. Maybe I should have kept it as a square then. Okay. Actually, the crack and try to leave just a little space like with the clouds. It'll be good. It'll be good. I've been convinced on Greetings from Out There. This is difficult. Still have to make a poem, don't we? Yeah, it does give it that like old fading out wood kind of feel. Do we do Greetings From all bright and lovely? I think that one needs to be faded too. What do you guys think? Do I give Greetings From the sandpaper treatment, or do we lean into the contrast apparent here? I think I'm leaning Greetings From. I don't think it's actually a question for you guys. False democracy. You like the contrast? Oh man. Now what do I do? I think like once you start to sandpaper it, it's very permanent. Oh wait, okay. Before making a decision, we can see it in context, right? Greetings From does kind of feel very highway map. I do get it. And there is this red highway happening. The 101. So it okay. Putting it in context, I think the contrast is actually okay. I maybe will still soften the edges, but I'm not gonna like try to damage the text itself in the way that this one is. Should the text be like this? I don't know. Yeah, PCH, Pacific Coast Highway. Is it wrong to call it the 101? I do like the split there. You should let a road pass through? Oh, yeah, that's cooking. I think it has to be like this one. Um, this red one, cause it's like the right shape. That is clever. But then this is all really high up. Maybe it's okay. At piece height. Okay, I do think that works. Maybe I can do it over here, and we can go for a centered kind of. We could also do straight across. I don't think I like straight across. So do it like that. Do it like that. What a decision. Ah, wait. Centered ish. Red highway. Blue. Green. This feels like cloud color. I think it works. I'm still going to soften the edges on Greetings From, but that will be the title of the poem. Sandpaper. So I'm going to not rip this one in half, ideally, if I can at all help it. Definitely running out of yapping. It's getting to that time where it's tough to just yap. But we're almost to the point where I'm just gonna start getting really like out of it and loopy. And then I'll probably start making lots of sounds into this microphone again. Maybe the fact that I'm doing this whole spiel means that I'm there and I've lost it. I'm just locked in on the artistic streaming process. And maybe indeed. Sandpaper, sand. How do they make sandpaper? Because it can't possibly be actual sand, right? Like, that just comes from the idea of sanding is probably the way they used to sand things down. And then sandpaper is just some kind of linguistic etymological relic of that. Unless it is literally sand. If it is literally sand, then props to Big Sand, I guess, for doing that. Okay. I do like that softened. Maybe a little more on this one. I did cut it too close to the G, but you know, we'll do better next time. A little more around here, especially for that green on white kind of edge. Yeah. Greetings. Okay. It's grit, so basically. So is it so it's grit glued on paper? Wow. I guess that kind of makes sense. It is called sandpaper. I'll glue these down. Actually, there's an imminent break, so I'll glue these down when we get back. I think my mom is asleep, so I can't ask her what this is that I'm using for glue. Grit adhered to paper. I mean, I guess if you want to make sandpaper, you just gotta have sand and paper. Uh, I just put my hand in glue. Man, I hate this stuff. Maybe I should get that spray glue. Why is this like, is that just dusty? It's like, it's dusting on me. Towel, evil thing. Um, rinse my brush. Trying to stick around. Trying to stick around, yeah. I guess it is. Um, I, yeah. uh, yeah, that. Okay. We will be back in 3 minutes to return to your irregularly scheduled programming of Thursday night, 2/3 Lotus Collage poetry stream experience. Stand up, move, drink a water, eat a snack if that's your thing, and we'll be back momentarily. Hello and welcome back. I am still here and I am still me, and we are still streaming on 2/3 Lotus Twitch.tv, making collages with something that rhymes with what I was doing there before. um, yes, greetings from out there is the piece we are creating still, and getting to gluing some words down, and then we will arrange some actual factual poetry. And I think what I want to do for the poetry part is to have it mostly be just plain black and white words, since we did kind of lean into the contrast on the title and the colors, and just have something very sparse, like just, 4 or 5 lines of poetry happening within the actual body, partially because I am tired and don't want to find a ton of words and get bogged down in how to arrange them. But also because I just think it fits with the very simple, elegant vibe of this piece. And that is definitely something to consider when choosing the words and what they look like and what we're actually trying to say with the poetic poeming of the piece itself. So yeah, there's a city in here on this map, the very top up here on Highway 5, that's called Eureka, but it's called Eureka spelled Yreka, and I just think that's kind of funny. Because it's just that very human thing of like, oh yeah, Eureka, it's probably like Yreka. Okay, let's like call our town that. Or like, we know there's another Eureka and it's EUR, but we have to be different, so we're gonna be Eureka. I wonder how they chose that name. If they were just trying to be quirky, right? Like people who spell like Haley, like HEIYLEAUGHX, right? Um, like maybe that's what Eureka was doing. I sort of like Eureka within the title as this from out there in this place, this exclamation of finding and understanding and knowledge. I think that's kind of quite fortuitous that ended up being there. So I like Promised Lands. It is very big, and we want to cut it smaller because this isn't a piece that wants these big blocks. But I think we might just need to find a few more words. And I am going to go into the old Sunset magazines that are falling apart from 1936. And I love that I have these because, I mean, they just fall apart. They are just absolutely super fragile, but it's so cool that they're just old. You think Weed is up there too? There's a town called Weed? There's good. Oh, you're right. There is. Hold on, guys. Zoom back in. The town. Where is it? I saw it a second ago. The town of Weed. Next to the town of Gazelle. The people in northern. Come on. Focus. Lock in. Well, I trust that y'all can see that. It's blurry, but it says weed. Um, yeah, that's kind of funny. Uh, they lean all the way into it too, as they should, right? So let's find some words that feel like they're about greetings from out there. I think that's what we're doing. I like these titles, but these are about houses. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Y'all can't see the entire thing. Maybe I'll bring it up more. I don't know if y'all can even pick out any words at that point, but right here is new place from old, and I like that one quite a lot. New place from old. I like that. I'd be disappointed if they didn't. Oh, the the town of Weed. Yeah, yeah, same. In the garden. Probably not garden. I think I want at least like these subtitle sized words. Nothing smaller than that. Nothing like this small. A defense against tomato mosaic. What to read, what to spray. Watering. This looks like a great section to cut out and do a blackout poem from, and like Sharpie over stuff. I like aftercare. I don't know if it fits here, but aftercare is a great word to have just in a poem. So I'm keeping that for later. Flower arrangements. From carriage house to cottage. The man of the house says. Yeah, I mean, it's 1936. The man of the house. Oceans, hot water at eyedropper cost. Oceans of hot water at eyedropper cost. Gas, the modern fuel. Literally an ad for gas. I love old stuff because it's so strange. Gas, the modern fuel. We're done with wood stoves. It's time for gas. New lease on beauty. In a day. In a day, beauty. Okay. Well, we'll take some of this. I think some of this can work. I don't know if I'm formulating a poem, but I don't know. Can you say this? I'm holding my own. Ingram's milkweed cream, a complete cream, everything your skin needs in one jar. Y'all can't see that side. Oh, they got the new fashion recipes. Butter puffs. 1 1/4 cupfuls of all-purpose flour. 1/8 of a teaspoonful of salt. 1/2 cupful of butter, powdered sugar. Sift, work them together. Cook them. I love these magazines. The choice is gorgeous. Oh, the choice of A1 cooks. Yeah. I do. The choice, I mean, choice definitely fits in with this idea of going places, right? Having choice. These pages are so delicate, I can basically just like score them and they will like mostly come off pretty straight, which is nice. They're very easy to cut, but they are fragile, so it can be kind of hard. She thought she knew all about making jelly until she dropped in on young Mrs. Roberts. Is you, Mrs. Robinson. Ba, ba, da, ba, 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 ba. Ba, ba, ba. I like that song. It's also cool to see like Tillamook, like that cheese just, you know, has endured something. You said there's a something somewhere. Sorry, I do. Oh, continue. Because continued could be continue. And that is a good word, right? The choice to continue, that kind of stuff. Something different is nice, but only wish. But only... chat delay makes this, like, very difficult. And there's so much on these pages. Oh, but only with? It is, but only with. Oh, but you did say that. Or maybe it's a typo. I don't know. Only with cheese. With Tillamook. By Tillamook. Something different. Oh, I don't... Where's the something different? Oh, something different. Way up there. Yeah, something different does make sense. Okay. Getting some more words. I do like thought. Right? Just grabbing thought. I don't think we need she because there's like 2 people in this. I just cut the thought bad. I think it's okay. But I did cut off the stem of the G. Which sucks. I split the G again. It's a broken thought. There you go. It's an artistic decision. Colic? What's that? He never even had the smallest of stomach aches. His very first formula, prescribed by a specialist, was made with Golden State evaporated milk. We've never used any other kind. There's a more artistic when it rains, it pours. Oh, there is. Maybe those can both be saved for a separate when it rains, it pours poem. Having 2 of the same, like, phrase is a very rare and fortuitous find to have within a poem. I love that song. My fave is The Only Living Boy in New York. Yeah, is The Only Living Boy in New York also Simon and Garfunkel? I feel like I'm like a fake fan. Although I've listened to a good amount of them. I really like man. 10:30 p.m. brings yeah. Dude, Spanish pulling up in 1936, quien sabe. New kind of might fit from the Jiffy Seal ad. I feel like it's very, like, bold. It might be a little bold for this one. And I think I might take what we have and and see what we can do with it. But I do like "We Listened." Wait, what does this say? This is. I'm gonna pull over this one. "We listened when women talked." Is this like progressive? Um, and then did something about it. Please the women. That to us is the first command in offering service, so long as we started listening when women talked about this service station business. Cleanliness, they said, is a virtue anywhere. Service, they told us, should be personal and individual. It's the friendly touch, the little extra helps that make a service station important. Oh, this is about like filling up your car. Oh, it's like oil changes. Dude, this girl's like, guys, this is like progressive, incredibly progressive, right? You still have like auto mechanics who you walk in as a woman and they'll just be like, they'll ignore you and ignore what you have to say. But Associated Oil Company in the year of our Lord 1936 was listening to the women. Props to them. I don't know if they actually were, but they say they were. That's a blackout poem waiting to happen, very possibly. Gonna head off to bed soon, so this is very late where I am, but I hope the rest of the collage turns out well, and the stream has been very relaxing for me. Thank you. Good night. Yeah, good night. And I'll probably post the final version on our Discord and probably also on my Substack as a note. I'm still trying to figure out all of the nuance of how Substack works. That song is also Simon and Garfunkel Reese. Gotcha. The Only Living Boy in New York. Maybe I'll have to go listen back. Cause it's been a while. What's the Simon and Garfunkel song that I really dig? It's like, geez, my brain is just like shut off. Oh, well, there's Bridge Over Troubled Water, but I'm thinking of a different one. Like a bridge over troubled water. Oh, that song is so beautiful, man. I will lay me down. You get bad singing. This is what happens when you pull up to the evening streams on this channel. You get me really, really poorly singing stuff. Like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. But there's another song. Oh, Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard. That is one of my favorite. Yeah, that. Mrs. Robinson, Me and Julio, and Bridge Over Troubled Water are my three Simon and Garfunkel preferred, which maybe that's like a basic take. I don't know where those stand in amongst real Simon and Garfunkel fans. Okay. So we have the choice. We listened. Something different. Thought continued. I like thought continued just as a thing. In pursuit. Live the good life. When you go. When you go in pursuit. I need an of, but like when you go in pursuit of something different or of promised lands, I like Clay Aiken's version of Bridge, but my favorite Simon and Garfunkel is Sound of Silence. I mean, that's fair, right? There's a ska band called Streetlight Manifesto. They have a cover of Me and Julio, and that's part of why I really like it. I just need the word of, I think. um, is there an of on here? And then I think we'll kind of have it roughly. Oh, I can take off and just turn it into of. Yeah, that's fine. When you go in pursuit of something different. Disturbed. Yeah, the disturbed sound of silence is very good, Nikki. Um, I have heard that one, and it is like very just haunting. Um, pursuit of when you go in pursuit of something different. Oh, wait. I like listened, like when you go, and then to say past tense something listened. Um, like either like when you go in pursuit of something different, life listened, thought continued, right? Something like that is a very beautiful, like, you will go into the future and it will work out okay kind of sentiment, right? I I dig that. I think that might just be it. Unless other people really dig words. But then it's just softening up some of the edges of these text and gluing them down. When you go in pursuit of something different, life listens, thought continued. Simple, elegant. Works for me. Cut this one down. I like how different the process for this collage was from the process of the collage on the last stream that we did this, where the other one was much more like, sort of all sorts of things and trying to pare down the options. And this one was just like kind of slow and worked through it over time. Not that one is better than the other, but just that it's different. And one can do the same sort of form of art and have a very, very different experience each time. But we did mostly words first last time, yeah. And today we did pictures. Well, we did like words first, but then like set in stone the pictures first this time. Where like we had an idea. And I like that. I like that it can be varied. Because variety is the spice of life. I say with very unoriginal, unvaried words. I definitely want to get a good like scan of this one because there's a lot of little detail when you go down to like the level of the map, and it's a big piece. So I'll try to get like a really high quality scan, and I should too of the other one. And luckily we have a printer that can do such things. And then they'll be shared on the internet. It'd be cool someday to like make some prints of these and try to distribute them. I don't know where or how I would do that. But it would be cool to have other people have my art. But only with the choice we live the good life. But only with choice. I think only with choice. Wait, but if you say the choice, then it refers to like the choice of going, right? As opposed to choice more broadly. So I do think the. Okay. When you go. Tuck that under. In pursuit, crossing of something different. Life listened, thought continued, but only with the choice we live the good life. That, good little addition, Nikki. That's, yeah. Oh, that's dope. That's like, that's poetry. Yeah. You go in pursuit of something different, life listened. This is like something different, life listened, thought continued. Yeah, pursuit continued. There's even some nice sound happening. Funny how that seems to just work out sometimes. Like a branch of troubled water, I will lay me down. The song's gonna be stuck in my head until I fall asleep, I think. But Bridge Over Troubled Water is a pretty good song to have stuck in one's head. It's such a pleasant, beautiful piece of music. Thought continued. I wonder if doing like the choice in and like keeping the corners sharp to really make it stick out. Visual, call attention to the importance of the choice to go, the importance of the choice to change and to move forward and to go to the out there which we dream of. You can even throw have I done enough? um, I think I like it ending on live the good life. You know, I I like the confidence of that end. The choice. And I love how the choice is down here by these silhouettes, as if to say, that the choice is to take the jump to possibility and to motion, right? The choice is that of these kids going to that elsewhere. But only with the choice. The choice. What a powerful, yeah, little statement. And I think I'll let the words, I don't think I need to sand them down. I think it lifts them off the page pretty well, by them having just like the clean edge as opposed to the softness of the clouds and the mountains and everything else. So we'll leave them as cut edges. Also, because I don't want to sand them all down, if I'm being completely honest. You know me and my bleak outlooks. Yeah, you're. We definitely differ in that way, Jessica. Um, I'm always one for an optimism. An optimism. Okay, when you go in pursuit of something different, life listened, thought continued. Life being right there, listens, thought continued. Okay. Gluing time. Start at the bottom, I think. I really like the words from out there. That the words from out there are colorful, and the words from the normal part are more white and gray. Yeah, it definitely like. Oh yeah, like that the out there is this world of possibility and color. It has that implication. You're right, Reese. Um, and yeah, it does work out quite well that we chose that. Um, because it gives that idea of the potential. And then the map has the color, right? Um, and even the clouds have a glow to them. Yeah, that is a very nice thing about it, I think. The choice. But only with the choice. We live the good life. Ah, and when you go, if I keep it as the only thing on this side, not only does the color work well with the clouds, but it's like when you go where? When you go up here to this place. Um, that's a nice touch. Get this back there. Ah. I think in pursuit, just crossing over the edge of the mountains makes sense from that, like, visual reflecting the idea perspective, right? That the pursuit is to cross over, um, but we're still mostly on the bottom side. I didn't do a good job of sticking the edge of the mountain down, though. Hopefully it doesn't pop back up. I think it'll be okay. Something on the mountains different in the water, like that. Yeah, and then life can sort of. Well, I was thinking of having life bisected by the mountains and the water, but maybe of something different. Life up here, listened, thought continued. Thought continued. Of. No, this needs to be here. So we can do that. I think that's okay. But I also think of something different. I don't know. Composition's a hard thing. I do like something different being split. And then maybe life listened being here is okay, because it's on the same line. Maybe this can just be here. Thought continued. Or something different. Ah, that's the one. Okay. Maybe not. It's hard because there's these like two land things. Life. Maybe we can just sit there. Gotta like stand up and look at it. In pursuit. Something different. I could play around with this all day, I think. Okay, I think it's something like that. I'm loving all the script font. Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, it it definitely has a cool effect. Okay, something different. Like so. Life. Listened. Thought continued. Okay, that's the piece. That is the actual, factual, poetical, finished, final, decisive, decided piece. We did it. And I will zoom in and pan around. Um, so we've got greetings from out there. Our little friends with the reflection in his mind. When you go in pursuit of something different, life listened, thought continued, but only with the choice we live the good life. What a dope piece. Start to end in 3 hours time. I'm so happy with that. I want to like post this one like crazy, do a whole uh thing that you swipe through on Instagram with like little detail bits. Um yeah. Ah, so good. I feel like the only thing for me is that this gets like a little lost. And if it was set on something, If it had a, you know what I can do? I can do a pen, and I can just fine line around the edge so it pops in black. Um, I think that will do good things for it. I'm gonna start with something smaller than this 1 millimeter. Maybe like a 0.5 millimeter pen. Yeah, because I just need this to come off the map. I'll do a 0.3. At least to start, right? We can always get thicker. We can't get thinner. Oops. Okay. Very subtly bringing this off the page. I think this will work. I think this will be good as a little border for contrast. You want the finest of points. Yeah. I have finer. I have a like 0.05 millimeter fine liner. I love really fine pens and pencils. They just make me happy. I think I'm actually gonna undo some of the distress around the edge of this so it's a stronger black border, but I can just fill that in with the pen itself. Yeah, I think that is just ever so slightly helpful. Really gotta not mess up and make sure the pen doesn't slip though. Because that would be quite the catastrophe. Okay. Yeah, I think that helps a lot. I think that really completes it. Okay. Greetings from out there. Now it just, yeah, it comes off the page just a little bit more, which is probably hard to see on stream, but it just helps it be a ever so slightly more defined, um, and gives it that bit of pop. So now it's done. Now greetings from out there is finished. Um, Yay. uh, it's always nice to finish things. Yeah, bask in it for a moment. It's always good to just sit back and appreciate one's own work. Um, and that's pretty much all for stream. um, but yeah, uh, look at it. So this is the biggest collage I have done, I think, ever. Like a full page size, because like most of my stuff is around here, or it's in like the zine like book form, um, and I'm really excited by this, and it would be like really interesting too to think about making a piece twice this size and being able to work with that much space, um, or even I mean, of course, we don't always have to think bigger and better, right? But uh, being able to use like pretty much like title size text all the way throughout, um, is something cool. Because usually I go down to like the level of like taking from body text. It was awesome watching it. It looks awesome. We'll be tuning in again, Reese. Awesome. It's a lot of awesome in that comment and my response. I stream, so it's Thursday nights that I do these collage streams, and then on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, I stream during the day, like 11 hours ago is the time that I would start. Um, and on those streams, I read poetry that people send me from chat in our Discord server. And that's sort of, and I like talk about it and I analyze it, and break it down and give feedback if people want. So that's what those streams are. There's only one collage stream a week, but I've really been enjoying them. So maybe sometime in the near future I'll get them up to a more frequency, because I really love these, and I think I'm making art that I'm happy with, which is I mean, what more can we ask for, right? Beyond making art we love. Isn't that what I say when I end stream? Thank you so much for watching. Keep making art you love. I've been Imogen By. But I'm not done quite yet. Uh, I mean, I don't actually have that much more to say. But welcome back, Callie. Hi. And yeah, Nikki, it really is. I think it's gorgeous. I'm quite happy with it, and I'm glad for everyone who stopped in and helped and gave ideas, or just watched or lurked or whatever, or followed. Um, uh, yeah, it's been a grand old time. Uh, and I don't know, as y'all make the motion toward sleep or whatever else you're doing with your day. Um, I guess remember that Um, only with the choice we live the good life. um, yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Keep making the choice. Keep living the good life. Keep continuing thought. And keep making art you love. That's all for me. Bye.